is chapter 4, verse 20. Chapter 4, verse 20. Now this is after Pentecost, this is after all those baptisms, and Peter and John are brought before the council. Okay, so sitting in front of Sadducees, if you read in chapter 4, verse 1, as they were speaking to the people, the priests and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, annoyed because they were teaching the people and proclaiming in Jesus the resurrection from the dead. Okay, so here they go. Jesus has already been crucified for what he did. Okay, now we obviously know he rose and then he ascended. But here's all these Christians now on fire with the Spirit. All the Sadducees have been thinking, well, look, we killed the carpenter from Nazareth. Now all of a sudden all these fishermen are becoming preachers. Like, what's a brother got to do? Like, they're looking at each other saying, what is going on? Like, this was supposed to go away. We killed their leader. And now all of a sudden, these fishermen won't go away. They won't go back to Galilee. They're hanging out in Jerusalem and they're telling everybody about this Jesus. And they're really starting to get a lot of support. 3,000 people is a lot of people. And this starts to happen. And they start to say, what are we going to do? Listen to what verse 19, but verse 20 specifically. But Peter and John, it says, we tell you to stop preaching Jesus' name. Verse 19. So they called them and charged them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Jesus. Verse 20. This is what they said. For we cannot but speak of what we have seen and heard. We can't not speak. It's like someone's looking at them, these powerful figures looking at them saying, you need to stop talking about Jesus. Don't you understand it makes me uncomfortable? Don't you understand you're not allowed to do this? And they look back and they go, how can we not? How can I not talk about the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? How can I not talk about a God who loves me enough to die for me? How can I not talk about a God who beat death? How can I not talk about a God who's given my life meaning and saved my life? He saved me from death. How can I not? Saved me from death. How can I not? Now this is passion. This is testimony. Sometimes as Catholics, we get a little weirded out by that word testimony sometimes because maybe we'll have other friends of other denominations who offer their testimony and we oh, that's not a Catholic thing. This is thoroughly Catholic, offering our testimony. How can we not? If you've ever been, and I kind of joked about it in the first session, if you've ever come off a retreat or a camp or a conference experience and you're just on fire for Jesus and you want to share Him with people and you've gone home and maybe a brother or a sister, maybe a mom or a dad or a friend who weren't on that retreat experience, they don't get it, right? You go home and you're on fire, and it's not that they don't want to hear about it. Hopefully that's not the case. But a lot of times you're kind of excited. You can't keep it in, and they're just kind of going, "What did they do to you? What did these Jesus freaks do to you out there in the woods?" You know what I mean? And it's not because they don't love Jesus. It's because sometimes when we have that kind of an intimate encounter or experience of God's love, it's hard to articulate in words, but you can't keep it in. It's like Prophet Jeremiah said, he's like this burning fire in my heart, I just have to let it out. And if you're really in love with Jesus, you got to let it out. You know, it's just, there's something different about you. And you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Those people in your life that you know are in love with Jesus, there's just something different about them, right? It doesn't mean they're perfect. It doesn't mean they don't screw up. But when you see them, you just go, yeah, there's something different there. In fact, in 1 Peter, in the first letter of Peter, you can read about, if you go in your student workbooks later on, you can read about Peter, but also I put in there an overview of his writings. Okay, here's what you look for when you read 1 Peter, for instance. He says, always be prepared to give people the reason for your hope. What he's saying is people are going to look at you, if you're a Christian, a true Christian, they're going to go, wow, something's different about you. And he's like, okay, be prepared. Because people are going to come up to you and they're going to want to know where this comes from. They're going to want to know why you're different, why you're joyful, why you're hopeful. I always love that when people come up to me at different events, you know, at a conference or a Life Teen event, something, people will come up and they'll go, man, like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, these teens are like on fire. And I'm like, yeah, isn't Jesus cool? You know, and they just don't get it. You know, it's someone working security in an event. But, you know, when you've been around it, you get it, right? You're just going like, yeah, this is amazing.